Welcome to the finale of 1 Month 1 Deck with Hopp's Trevenant. Over the past month, this deck has honestly been a blast to play, and working on the list week after week has been a ton of fun. Now, before we jump into the deck list and games, let's go over the deck's biggest strengths and weaknesses after a full month of testing. Starting with the positives, the deck is actually very consistent. The Phantump flips can completely swing games as well, and steal wins out of nowhere, and overall the deck is pretty easy to learn, all things considered. But the deck definitely has some weaknesses too. It relies heavily on damage modifiers to hit key numbers consistently. Mistakes with resource management or sequencing can be very punishing as well. And Trevenant's damage output depends heavily on if your opponent has knocked out one of your Hopp's Pokemon last turn. Now, I did enter one final tournament with the deck as well, and overall the results were pretty solid. I ended up finishing with a 4-2 record. After all the testing this month, this is the final version of the deck list, and honestly, I didn't change anything from last week's build. The list felt really smooth the more games I played with it, and I'm very happy with where the list ended up. I definitely recommend trying this deck if you're looking for something fun, competitive, and a little different from the standard meta. Now, if you want to try the list for yourself, the full deck list is down in the description below. Now let's get into the games. Alright, the first game I got for you guys is going to be up against that round 3, the Tim Danklin special, that Ursaluna deck. Now here we do lose the coin flip and are forced to go first, but we still have a decent start. We get double Phantump. They will be able to take out a Phantump using that Solrock if they get a Lunatone down, which they do. They are running the risky runes because that is part of the 1-2 combo with a copy of Ursaluna and some Monkey Dories. Down here they do get down a Monkey Dory, and they have the Crispin as well, so they will be able to not only power up this Solrock but also power up their Monkey Dory, and they open up their secret box, so they have a very impressive start for them. Now, and as for us, looking back at our hand, we have a couple different things that we can do, but most likely what we will end up doing is going into a Trevenant and then firing off that Lillies and hoping that we find the other cards that we need to be able to attack, either an Energy or a Hopp's Choice Band. That way then we can actually take a knockout on the Solrock. Now here they do stop our A-Spec as well. This is a open team sheet tournament, so they did know that we are running the Legacy Energy. Now, lucky for us, we do top deck into a Hopp's Choice Band, so that makes things a little bit different here. So instead of firing off the Lilies, I fire off the Hilda. This way we can put down a Energy still on the Phantump, be able to put down 2 more Phantumps, and we can go straight into the Trevenant as well and have another one in hand as backup for next turn. For here, we're just going to take the knockout. We're not going to put down the Choice Band on anything, just to be able to play around if they get down another copy of Monkey Dory and get enough damage. They could potentially take out both of our Phantumps next turn. Now here they are going to use their copy of Tarragon. This is going to get them back their fighting energy plus their Solrock, and they do have a copy of Air Balloon on their Genesect, but I don't really want to waste the Tool Scrapper just yet. I want to save it to see if they run any more tools to be able to see if I can get rid of those as well. Say they play another copy of Air Balloon on like the Monkey Dory, being able to get rid of 2 copies of Air Balloon would be massive, so this is the reason why I'm holding the Tool Scrapper. Now we did get a copy of Night Stretcher from our prizes, so that is something that we can use next turn to be able to get another Phantump down if we want to as well. Now here they are just going to go straight into a copy of Ursaluna, take a little bit of time to figure out where they want to put this damage. They do need to put the 20 damage onto the Trevenant in order to take a knockout because we are resistant to fighting damage. Now here we are just going to throw up another copy of Phantump. We do top deck into a Dubwool, but that doesn't really matter. Here we are going to fire off the Night Stretcher, get down another Phantump, go straight into another copy of Trevenant, and do the Tool Scrapper before we do a copy of Lilies. We did attach the Choice Band as well. That way then we can guarantee the attack here. And now we will attach another copy of a Energy. This case it is the Mist Energy, and then go into a 3rd copy of Trevenant. This way we guarantee that we have another Hopp's Trevenant to swing with next turn. Now here we do take out their copy of Ursaluna, so they are just going to throw up their Monkey Dory because we also took out their Air Balloon. Now here they are running a single copy of that Ting-Lu, which can be very deadly for us. So what we're gonna have to do now that we see that they have searched it out is be able to use this Poké Pad and get down a copy of Shaymin if we want. Otherwise, we could use it just to play a little bit more aggressive and potentially go into a Cramorant. But our opponent's already down to 4 prizes remaining. They most likely will be taking a prize here since they're powering up that Ursaluna, which means that they'll be down to 3, and the chances of us being able to get double value out of our Cramorant is pretty low. So that is going to be the debate that I'm having in the game right now is, do I want to go for the Cramorant or do I want to get the Shaymin and guarantee that the Ting-Lu's not going to be able to just wipe the board with me? Now in here they do move some damage onto that Phantump, putting it down to 30, and then they are going to bench that Ting-Lu before attacking with this Ursaluna and taking the knockout on the Trevenant. Now in here we are throwing up our backup Trevenant. We top deck into yet another copy of Boss, and now we are forced to get down the Shaymin. This way we can play around that Ting-Lu, and then we are just going to fire off the attack with the Trevenant here. This way we do take the knockout, going down to 3 prizes remaining. From our prize, we do get a copy of Lillie, so we can use that next turn. The copies of Boss's orders are okay, but they're nothing really to write home about. We need a couple other things and other options in order to really have a chance of winning this game still, since we are on the back foot in the prize race. Now in here, they are going to fire off that copy of Fighting Gong, getting another copy of Fighting Energy. They've already went through quite a bit of their resources, going through their Ursalunas, trying to be able to use those as much as possible, and now they are going to just go for a boss play here. This way they can take out the Shaymin and hope that we just don't find another way to get into Shaymin again, because their win condition at this point is that Ting-Lu. Now here we are just going to throw up this Trevenant. Something to note is that they didn't knock out a Hops Pokemon last turn, so we are not doing 130 damage base with our Trevenant swing. Now, this Lillie's isn't really that good. It did give us the Choice Band and a Fez, but we really don't want to put down our copy of Fez at this point because it is a 2-prizer. So as you see here, I'm looking to make sure how much of the resources they've used before deciding to put down the Fez. Now, we do get the cards that we need here. We get the Hops Bag, which can get us down the Wooloo. We do get the Postwick, and we do have this copy of Choice Band as well. Now, and from here, this should be enough of a damage calculation to be able to deal the damage needed. So it is 90, counting the Snorlax plus the Postwick and the base damage of 30. That way, then we do take a knockout on that Solrock. As for my opponent, they will be throwing up their copy of Ting-Lu here and then firing off this Petrel, most likely grabbing a copy of Night Stretcher. That way they can get back one of their Fighting Energy and attach it to the Ting-Lu so they can at least take a knockout this turn. One of the things that they could have also done is if they already had a Fighting Energy in hand, which they didn't, then they would be able to go after the Wooloo, just bring that up, and then be able to try to keep that in the active for us because it's kind of hard to move our big Pokemon. Or they could have even put up the copy of Snorlax and forced us to find a way to move it, which we do have a copy of Switch left in the deck. Now in here, they do get down their Fez. They did end up grabbing the Ultra Ball instead of a Night Stretcher, and they do have the Fighting Energy now that they are attaching to their Ting-Lu. Here they are going to be firing off that bomb as well. They do get ahead, so they are going to put the damage on the Wooloo as well. They find another tool, so they get that on the Genesect, guaranteeing that we can't use our Legacy Energy. But the card that we top deck for turn is Poké Pad. Now, and we are going to start off by using this Fez here, and I'm going to delve deep into the tank for a second. We are doing 160, so I could take the knockout right now on this copy of Ting-Lu, but there's actually a way of winning the game this turn. So what I'm going to do is fire off this copy of Petrel. This is going to be able to get me the Postwick. I want to make sure that I have the Dubwool left in deck, and I do, so I get down the Postwick. I fire off that Poké Pad, getting the Dubwool, using its effect to gust up the Fez, and then I'm doing 220 damage with this Trevenant, winning me the round. Alright, so the second game I got for you guys is going to be that round 1 game against that Mega Water Box, which is Mega Frostlass and Mega Starmie, in case you didn't know. Now, in here, our opponent does go first. We did win the coin flip, so we were able to choose second, and our opening start is pretty okay. It's not really the greatest, but it's not really the worst that I've seen either. Now, and as for our opponent, they did open up multiple copies of Poké Pad, and they do have a Staryu in the active, so if we can get things correct, then we have a chance of actually taking out this Staryu during our next turn, which is what we want to do. We want to try to take a knockout on our first turn going second every single game, because that's going to be able to lead into a snowball effect that we really need as a single prize deck. Now in here, they're really taking their time to debate before firing off this copy of Carmine. They do get rid of some very important cards there, notably the Ignition Energy, which they're only running one copy of, a Wally, and they do get rid of that Fez. Now here they do get down another copy of Staryu, and we do top deck into this copy of Petrel. So what I'm going to do now is really take some consideration. I could fire off that Judge this turn as my supporter of choice, but I think I'm just going to fire off that Petrel instead. From here, I do use this Poké Pad to grab a Phantump, and I'm looking through my deck, making sure of the other cards that I have. And I am just going to put down the Phantump, put down one of these Telepathic Energy. I need to grab another Phantump and the Latias in this matchup. This way I can have free retreat and have a backup Phantump as well. Now, and from this Petrel, we are grabbing that copy of Postwick, going into the Phantump. This way we are able to swing for exactly 70 damage since we already have the Snorlax. We were hoping for a heads there on that coin flip, and unfortunately we got a tail. So they will be able to take a knockout next turn if they decide to do so with either a Mega Frostlass or Mega Starmie. Now in here they are going to throw up their copy of Staryu. From our prizes, we did get a copy of Pokégear, so that is something that we could use next turn, trying to find like a Lillie's Determination. Now here they do fire off that Night Stretcher, getting down a copy of Fez, then firing off this copy of Lillie's, just so they can try to see some more cards. They did get down a copy of Air Balloon as well to their Staryu. This way they can have free retreat in case they don't find the Mega Starmie, plus a Water Energy. Down here, they are going to also use a copy of Ultra Ball. They did get rid of our Stadium as well for their Poké Beach, just giving them a little bit extra moving and being able to just move around things, while also getting rid of our extra damage modifier in Postwick. Now, and from this Ultra Ball, they have kind of a tough decision. If they have a Water Energy in hand, they can grab the Mega Starmie. If they have the Mega Frostlass that they can grab, then they can just go into that instead, since they already have a Water Energy on that copy of Snorunt. Here they are just going to grab the Mega Starmie, and then they are just going to fire off this copy of Fez, being able to draw 3, and then they have another copy of Ultra Ball. This time they get rid of a copy of Badoo, which could be a hindrance later on, but they decide to just get rid of it now, and they are just going straight into a Mega Frostlass there. From here, they are going to fire off another copy of Poké Pad, getting another Snorunt. And something to note is that they are running Baby Frostlass in their list as well. So that is something that we have to be a little bit worried about too. Now in here, they are just going to take a knockout using this copy of Mega Frostlass. We are just going to throw up the Phantump here, and then we top deck into a copy of Ursaluna. So we're going to sequence this correctly by using the Telepathic Energy first. This way we can get down another copy of Phantump, and then we are going to put down the Cramorant as well, then fire off this copy of Poké Pad. Now I can go into this copy of Trevenant, which I decide to do, but there is merit to just not going into the Trevenant yet and just trying to swing with the Phantump, hoping for a coin flip of a heads. But I go into the Trevenant here and I debate if I want to fire off the Judge or if I want to fire off the Pokégear and try to find something else that I could use this turn. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to swing for 160. We're down to 3 cards in hand, yes, and they will be able to take the knockout on our copy of Trevenant, but I want to try to play around boss. And if I were to use Judge, we'd be at 4 cards, which would be 200 damage that they could deal with Mega Frostlass, and because they are running the Baby Frostlass, that means that they would be able to effectively do 210 to be able to take out our Latias if they had a boss's order. So I wanted to play around that. Now in here, they do get down the Baby Frostlass, and they are going to fire off this copy of Buddy Buddy Poffin just to be able to look at their deck, see if there's anything else that they really need. Their board is pretty set up right now. They could potentially go into another copy of Snorunt. They were running 3 copies. But instead, they're just going to fire off this Carmine after shuffling their deck from the Buddy Buddy Poffin. They do end up finding a Dark Energy, so they attach it to the Monkey Dory. Now they're able to also heal some damage, and they're going to set that up on the Shaymin, which is stopping their Mega Starmie from dealing the spread damage. From here, they're just going to take out our copy of Trevenant, and we are just going to throw up this Cramorant. What we really need to see here is either a Hop's Choice Band, or we need to find a Energy plus a Postwick. That way then we're dealing enough damage to be able to take a knockout on this Mega Frostlass. Here we do fire off this copy of Lillie's, just to see if we can find the cards that we need, and unfortunately we don't. Now, we can still draw some extra cards here using this Ultra Ball to be able to get down Fez, and this can draw us 3 more cards. So as long as we can find something here, then we have still a chance in this game, and we don't. We find Hilda, Judge, plus Boss's Orders. So we aren't attacking this turn at all, and that is very bad for us. Now, we do have Double Stretcher, but there's nothing that we can really get. We don't play any basic energy, and that is one of the things that I was considering throughout this entire month of playing the Hops Trevenant deck, is maybe running 1 or 2 basic psychic energy, just so that way then Stretcher is a way of guaranteeing a attack later on in the game. But what we do decide to do is just go into the copy of Shaymin, because our opponent's only at 4 prizes, but I actually make a game-losing mistake here because I end up just going on autopilot, throwing up the Phantump instead of the Cramorant. I realize that mistake, so I just end up conceding. And yeah, that's 1 month of Hops Trevenant. Overall, Hops Trevenant ended up being one of the most fun decks I've played in a while, and I'm really happy with how this 1 month 1 deck season turned out. Now, if you enjoy the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I post new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.